Bruce Cockburn, welcome back to eTown.
It's great to be back.
Yeah. You may be the guy who holds the record at this point. I think this is your 9th time on eTown, and nine is a lot. Although it's over 32 years, it doesn't seem excessive.
I would say not. No.
Yeah.
We could have snuck in another couple.
Yeah. Well, it's not too late
before hitting that point.
Yeah. Our orders say to love them all. So that's tough, isn't it? In this moment in time.
Yeah. It is extremely, and I mean, I think in that respect, this moment isn't different from most other moments. I mean, really, we love the people that are like us, or that, we are connected to in some way. But extending that beyond that is a challenge, and it always has been. But it's more vital than ever that we do that now.
Yeah, and I imagine as somebody who, as I mentioned when I was introducing you, was certainly well acquainted with the 60s.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
I even remember much of it, actually. Yeah.
But that was a little easier to love them all because there was a big posse that had this promise of change and new generation, and things were percolating. And
yeah, but it was bullshit.
Yeah.
It was fashion. I mean, it was there. You're right. It was there, and I don't mean to be cynical about it or sound cynical, because I'm not. But
it was how you dressed.
It had a lot to do with appearance, and it had a lot to do with identifying with, whatever social group it was, and the people who were outside that group were generally not even recognized for the most part. I mean, the people who got recognized were the cops who infiltrated the love-ins, and you could tell them because they had brown shoes. They wore jeans and T-shirts and stuff, and they tried to look like everybody else, but they so didn't. But I mean, the divisiveness existed then too. It just was held in low esteem by everyone, by conservative people too. I mean, in general, I think people had more of a tendency to kind of want to connect with each other. People wanted to persuade each other of their point of view, as opposed to just like, you're the enemy, whatever, go away. And
well, I think there was also there was a lot of stuff that was not particularly persuasive. It was just like inclusive. It's like, oh, you're in our gang, so let's smoke a joint and play some music and take our clothes off.
Yeah, but it was more like that for some than for others.
Yeah.
I didn't get around to the clothes off too much, but that maybe that was a sort of a Southwestern thing, but except you didn't grow up in the Southwest. But yeah, it was an era where the idea of paying attention to more than just yourself. I mean, it was the origins of the me generation, but that was the bad outcome. What was there that led to that was a sense that we really all belong together, and that the way to find, unfortunately, where it went was the way to find how to be together was to go inward, and that didn't produce the best results. But
well, I think that's. I mean, all of it is a journey, and all of it is a process that we went through both as individuals and collectively as a community. But we find ourselves in a similar spot now, where those tools, the ability to understand how we feel or understand, music allowed you, for example, to have a broader sense of your community than you might have otherwise. You were inspired by people who didn't look or have experiences that were anything like yours.
Yeah.
When you think about somebody like Big Bill Broonzy, or that first song you did felt like a Big Bill Broonzy, based on a Big Bill Broonzy riff.
Caught.
And
it is exactly based on a Big Bill Broonzy. Yeah, not too many people would recognize that, but he did. Yeah.
But the fact that you, as a young person studying guitar and really being into that, listening to records intently, could be inspired by Lonnie Johnson, Big Bill Broonzy, Mississippi John Hurt, and those people. And what that did was everyone else who was doing the same thing, which was not a lot of people, but if you found them, you had a lot in common. And also it changed your sense of who you were connected to.
Yeah.
And I think that music has that ability, and I think we kind of believed in the promise of it a little more than turned out to be true.
Well, yeah, I think that's fair to say. I don't know. I've never. I don't know what I've never done. I can't remember enough to know what I've never done. But it for a long time has seemed to me that the ability of music to change things is overrated in some circles. I mean, people attach great importance to certain songs, but those songs don't have the effect, or they wouldn't have had the effect they've had without a bunch of people feeling like it spoke for them. And that's so that it really is that body of popular feeling that allows a song to become an anthem. It's not the song itself. So it's I mean, there's a relationship there that's important, but
I guess I'm just struck by the sort of circular nature of all this. You know, we're talking with you, and your biggest hit, If I Had a Rocket Launcher, was inspired by an experience in a Guatemalan refugee camp, and we were just hearing from Kelsey about the plight of the Guatemalan refugees as they wend their way through Mexico, heading north, and the coming out of the 50s and out of the Vietnam War, and that, you know, pushing up against that stuff helped sort of propel a generation towards a concept of a future that never really materialized. And now we're facing other kinds of challenges,
yes,
as you so clearly shared, with both personalities and climate challenges and other things. And so do you see the cyclical nature of this too, I suspect?
The hopeful version of it is a spiral that's ascending. I'm not sure it is, but I like to think it is. But yes, the circular thing is there. And I mean, all this, you know, it's the old saying, what goes around comes around. I mean, and what's been around keeps coming around. I can add to that. Like the other cliche is that people who pay no attention to their history are doomed to repeat it. And, you know, we can look hard at the educational system and see what it's teaching us about our history, and with respect to what we want to repeat and don't want to repeat. I think that's you know, there's a lot of stuff said in media circles or just socially about that right now, but
because we're banning books and stuff like that now,
because of that, because we don't want to. We don't want to own the fact that, I mean, I don't think all white people are bad because we had slaves. Like, that's nonsense. Any more than all black people are bad because they were slaves. But it happened. You can't disown it. We're the inheritors of all that on all sides of it. So, you know, it needs to be taught. It needs to be understood as best we can understand it. And you can't understand it if you ain't looking at it. So, you know, that's...
We have benefited from your work ethic. You've, as I mentioned, produced whatever it is, 34, 35 records of original songs. You've written hundreds of songs. This current batch is, you know, it's true to form. There's feistiness, and there's you know, pointing out challenges, but there's also the spiritual element that's been in many of your songs and your records, and this time with the awareness of time passing.
And imminent death.
And imminent death. Yeah.
Well, it's imminent. I don't know that it's imminent.
Yeah.
Looming.
It's coming for
Looming
sure.
Looming is a better word.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there for everybody, but you know, there was an era of, well, there was a whole lot of my life where I was aware of it, but I could, you know, but not think about it the same way as that. Actually, thank you so much. You're psychic there, but yeah, I mean, the older you get, the closer that horizon appears, and it is what it is. I mean, so how do we approach that? We approach it with
eyes wide open.
With eyes wide open and a degree of acceptance and without feeling, I hope at least feeling hasty about it. I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but again, can you reach it? No, I just I like the combo of songs that you've shared on your latest record, and I should mention, because some in the audience may not know, that in your advancing age, you are also a dad of a young girl, and
Yep.
I just wonder. I know you guys are very close, and I'm sure there are things that you could share with her that are positive and comforting, and but you've seen it all. You looked at it, and here she is. She's coming into this world, not the world you grew up in.
That's right. It's a little scary on her behalf. I mean, I've got two daughters. One is 46, and the other is 11. And I mean, different moms, as you might imagine. But yeah. I mean, you're referring to the 11-year-old, and yeah, I mean, she's aware of all the stuff. She hears her mom and I talking about it, and she hears it in the news, and she's surrounded by her group of friends and who all are paying different degrees of attention to various things and talking about those things together. So I mean, there's a level of fear among that group that you could wish weren't there. I mean, I'm not sure it's very different from us having grown up with the threat of atomic war. It might not be that different. I mean, some of you guys will remember having to hide under your desk in case of nuclear attack. Like the siren goes off. Okay, everybody under your desk.
Yeah, that would have been helpful.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you just get incinerated along with the desk. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it may be that I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was somewhere approaching my teens about that, and going, well, we have the threat. You guys never had the threat of atomic war, and we have that. And he said, yeah, but he was born in 1918 at the end of the First World War. He said, when I was growing up, everybody felt that if there was ever another war, it would be the end of the world. Same thing, exactly. So I don't know that I mean, one of the things I would hope to communicate with my kid is that yeah, there's these things, these scary things are real, the threat is real, but it's not a given that it's going to go bad.
Yeah, and along the way, there are things you obviously impart and you can share, and you can find community, you can find solidarity with people whom you love and have fun with, and listen to Taylor Swift with, or whatever she does.
She does that.
Yeah.
And consequently, so do I on the way to school in the mornings. It's those radio stations we're listening to.
There you go.
Yeah.
Harry Styles and Bruce Cockburn.
Styles.
You never thought they would be together, and there they are in the car on the way to school.
In the same car, yeah. Right. Well, Harry Styles is the better end of it. I mean, there's some stuff out there, but one of my faves is SZA, that song. I thought I could kill my ex. That's the song, right? It's a beautiful tune. It's got kind of a pop rap thing going, but then it's got this chorus that's like, I could kill my ex, and it's very sweet. I quite like that. But most of it is, I mean, I go through the same thing my parents went through when I forced them to listen to Elvis.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. The spiral continues.
Right. Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got a lot of music to play, and so I don't want to interrupt that course of events. I will say that we were at our house last night talking about what we might do, and Bruce mentioned that he had a song that he had recorded on a dulcimer, and I procured from my basement a dulcimer that I bought in the early 70s, and it was not up to the task, because of the friction tuning pegs and whatever.
Yeah, it was a little too traditional for my blood.
Yeah, but thanks to our friend Bonnie, you've got a nice, very functional dulcimer here that looks like you're about to play.
Well, this was the plan. There is a sort of mild disclaimer here, because the song I'm about to do, I haven't performed since May, because I've been traveling kind of nonstop in a way that I haven't been able to bring my dulcimer with me. So
I can also have to let our radio audience know that your craftsmanship is apparent, because you made a flat pick out of duct tape or something. I don't know what that. Jesus, that's like the shoddiest looking pick I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is completely makeshift. I got arthritic hands. I don't grip the way I used to be able to grip. So holding a normal flat pick is a little difficult for me. And the kind of picks that are commercially available that I do use weren't available today anywhere within reach. Yeah. So I made this thing out of the slipcase for a magnifying glass that a friend of mine gave me, and I put some duct tape on it, and I took the magnifying glass out because the magnifying glass a little bit too heavy and hard to make a flat pick. But
that's rock and roll. That's a road dog. That's an experienced road dog figuring it out. Listen, we have a lot of music to get to. We're thrilled you're here right now. Would you help me welcome back to the stage at eTown, Bruce Cockburn?